like when I watch the weather and stuff like that. And red is like run for the hills, and then green's like some light rain and sprinkles. But those colors look identical to me. And so how do you relate that information for something too? So when you use PowerPoint, you can do like color checking and stuff like that too. You can use high contrast. So when using something that's more color based like PowerPoint, it will give you that information too, which I think is pretty cool. So that's accessibility. And then when I'm done with this, as long as I'm in the online version, it's auto saving automatically no matter what. So you don't have to save anything. You can just leave this document at any time. So I'll click the little waffle icon up here in the top left-hand corner. And then that brings you to your menu back, and you can hop over to any of the other programs inside Office 365. So PowerPoint, Excel, you can skip between them really easily. So any questions with Office? Because it's all going to be very similar between Excel, PowerPoint, everything like that as well, the sharing, the accessibility features and everything. Yes? The alternative text? Yep, let me show you. So once you have the picture highlighted, at the top, like a picture tools will appear, and you click format, and then the first option should be alternative text. Yeah, and so you can give a title and a description. So depending on how detailed you want to get with it, is up to you. And pretty much any image that is through our Bing web search now is going to come with alternative text automatically deciphered by machine learning as well. So no one had to go through and choose alternative text. Our machine learning program is able to see a picture and describe what's in it automatically, which is really cool. So man standing in front of a computer.
And just to add to the comments, as you see, it'll show a comment here later down. It shows a comment icon as well. So that way, if you open up a document, you can then see if comments have been added. And then you can actually go into them, and it gives you the one to check mark it like you've done it. So if, say, you as a teacher put a comment on a student's document to either edit something or grammar check something, they can actually hit that check mark as completed once they've done, and then also gives them the ability to reply back to the comments as well. So it really gives you the ability to collaborate, whether you're collaborating together in live time or you're needing to collaborate at separate times, but still in a live document.
And then the last thing too is sometimes everyone always needs help with technology. So we might be trying to find help or what you're looking for in all of our Office products really easy. So at the top, you'll see a little light bulb that says tell me what you want to do. So that's the tell me feature of Microsoft Office. And so clicking that, you can say like add a table. And then it doesn't actually tell you what to do. It automatically just brings that menu forward underneath you. So there, so you said add a table, it automatically brings you the menu options to add a table. So you can pretty much type anything you want there. So if you're looking for something like, I know to add a water image in the background, somewhere in Word, I just forgot how to do it. You can just type in to add like a water like background watermark. Sorry, that's what I was looking for. So, and it knows it's a picture issue. So, and you go ahead and start a picture, and it'll create a watermark for you, which is cool. All right.
And then real quick, just before we move on from sharing documents and collaborating that way, when you do share the documents, if you guys notice, it does give you the option to where you can share a document where they can edit it, or you can share the document where they just have the ability to view it. So just in case you guys have a report that you want to be able to share with everyone, where they can then copy and print it out. But if you change the document, you want them to always be able to go in there and do that same thing and always just keep reviewing or looking at it, but you don't want them to have the ability to change it. But sometimes, say if it's a calendar and you're going to be constantly changing it, or if it is a syllabus, right? And sometimes things change, that they can always still reference that same document, but not necessarily edit the document. So you have the ability to change permissions that way.
And once it loads, you just click this little box right here. So you get a couple different options. I can say that anyone can have access to the solid and they can log in with people at UT Tyler, so they have to have a UT Tyler email address to access it. Only people with existing access, or only specific people of which you relate. And then down here, you can also choose to allow editing or just make it read only, and you can set an expiration date. So you only have access to this document till the 5th of October. So whatever it might be. The expiration date. Okay, so that just might be something that was set by the IT staff or the administrator for the Microsoft account here. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you that. All right. So the next thing I'm going to hop over to is calendar. So we'll go ahead and click the little waffle icon, the Microsoft waffle in the top left-hand corner, and calendar. Okay, I'm going to stop for just a second here. Y'all have email through? So not the web-based version of? All right, cool. So we're going to skip the next 3 sections of my training. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So we're going to cut today's training short. Yeah, a big part of my thing was Outlook 365 and Microsoft Calendar 365 and stuff like that too. I'm going to just touch a little bit on it. That way you see what the students have access to. And then if you have any questions, let me know. So you won't be able to follow along with this part here. I'm just going to briefly kind of touch some of the features that are available in Outlook 365. And if you have your own personal Microsoft account, you have access to this as well. You just use that through your web browser. All right, so this is the calendar here, the base calendar for keeping all your appointments. So I had a recap that was due earlier today. I've already submitted that before I left this morning. And I saw that I had a 10 a.m. appointment here. So here I am with you guys. So, but really easy to add a new event. And what I like about the calendar feature through Office 365 is just how simple it is. It's a very clean layout, but it gives me a lot of options on collaborating with people. So the next thing that's really cool is location. So as I start typing, you can see here, it wants to know if it can use my location. So as I start typing, it automatically uses just our Bing search engine, and it goes ahead and adds me here. So I can just say University of Texas at Tyler. So I add my class that in for the location. And I can say a time. And then one of the cool features is the poll for time to meet. So if you just want to try to find the best time for someone to meet, you can post a poll and be like, okay, what's the best? And then you can kind of take a census and relay that as the best time. Or as I add people here, so let's say I wanted to add one of my coworkers, Manny Ventura. So it automatically knows his schedule because it sees his calendar, and I can see that he's tentative, and so he may not be able to make this. So I might reconsider a different time or inviting Manny. If I add Ashley, she's free, so I know that she'll be able to attend this meeting, no problems whatsoever. So before I add people, I can tell whether or not it's worth adding them or having the meeting at that time. And then, of course, you can just type in a note. And then the other cool thing is before you send it, you can attach an attachment. So here's directions to the meeting if anyone needs them in like a PDF format. And then you can add a Skype meeting as well. So if this was a virtual meeting, it would automatically generate a Skype URL for everyone to join this meeting virtually, which is really awesome. So it's easy to do. All you do is hit add Skype meeting. And then this is a public or private event, so I can change that as well. So I can click send. Awesome. So automatically ends it. Ashley will get an email, Manny will get an email, and I can come in here and I can see what's on my calendar for everything today. So again, since it's a Skype meeting, it's generated that unique URL for us all join together as a group meeting, and I would just click join, and then my Skype would log into that meeting, and everyone can just join virtually. So no matter where you are, it's easy to meet people using Microsoft 365 and the calendar as well. Any questions there? Cool. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is Microsoft Sway. So what you're going to do is you're going to point your web browser to sway.com. And you see a page that looks like this. Create and share interactive reports, presentations, personal stories, and more. So kind of like Ashley can do a quick Sway introduction when I get logged in.
Yeah, so you can also, if you guys notice, you guys have Sway as a block in your waffle, that we like to call out of your Office 365 accounts, but it's also free. It's a free program, just like OneNote is a free program, so it can be found also just by just going to sway.com. Either way, we'll get you to the same place. Obviously, when you choose your waffle, it'll give you your direct Sway files right away. So if you're signed into your Office 365, that is a quicker way to access it. So what Josh and I were saying earlier, Sway is kind of like a combination of PowerPoint and a web URL put together. So it's a way to showcase your PowerPoint presentations, whether you're presenting information or you're trying to tell a story. It's a way to do that in a web-based format to where you can send groups a URL. For example, I was telling a few of the teachers earlier, we had a business college course that came in and they built their resumes in Sway. So they could actually send a URL to LinkedIn using our LinkedIn profile system, and they could actually send direct URLs in the message boxes of some LinkedIn associates of the businesses that they were looking to apply to. So
it's available on everything. So web, Windows 10, iPhone, iPad, Android, it's all available, which is super cool. Yeah.
The benefit too is that it's set up to configure. So if they open up the URL on their phone, or they open it up on a tablet, or they open it up on a PC, it is built to adjust. So they get a clean flow no matter what device they open up.
Well, Sway is 100% free for everyone in the world. Anyone can go to sway.com.
Yeah, so you would just like, so with your cloud, right, your UT Tyler Cloud, any documents that you have on your UT Office 365 accounts, you would need to move those documents. So for Sway, if it's a document that you want to make sure you keep once you leave the university, if you happen to, you can share that document, right? And you would just share it with your own personal email address, and you'd make yourself an editor, right? And then you can delete your Tyler account off of that Sway. So it's an easy way to transfer it. So you have to send yourself your own link, and then you can delete the Tyler account from it. You do not. Sway is completely free, so you can use that with your Gmail account. You can use it with an Outlook account. It really just depends on when you go to sign in. It'll just be whichever sign-in that you guys want to create. So you guys are welcome to encourage students to use their Tyler account, but if they want to use their personal account so that way they never lose any of their Sway files, they're welcome to do that. It just depends on what you guys prefer. Collaborating purposes, if they're building Sway together, I would encourage them to use their Tyler one, so that way it's easy for them to share and collaborate their document, because it's a little bit easier when you're under the same domain.
All right, so is everyone logged into sway.com? All right, cool. So this is what you see. Does everyone see a screen very similar to this? So it should at the top say welcome to Sway. And we give you cool ways to get started. So you can start from scratch, just create new. You can start from a topic. So if you already kind of know what you're going to build a Sway on, you can start and research from there as well. And then you can start from a document as well. So let's go ahead and start on Tyler, Texas. So if I want to make a Sway about this town, on topic. Did yours? And you logged in with your. Okay. Go ahead and create. Yeah, that's weird. I've never seen it like that. I'll have to do a little more investigation. So I'm just going to touch a little bit on this like this, but then we're going to switch right over to where you're at. Yep. So with that, it automatically generates some content. So Tyler Texas, it'll say the sway was started using auto-generated content that the author searched for. So it gives me the official description provided by the city of Tyler, the city located in Central Smith County, Texas. So it's the largest city in Smith County and the county seat as well. And it gives me some information as well. So it's really cool. You can start. So it's a good starting point. It automatically kind of creates an outline, and then you can add to that outline.
And really quick, I know teachers are probably going to ask this. It does resource the content that it pulls. So students will have access to the resource so they can log that. All the references of where they got the pictures and websites and all that, it does it for them.
Everything used by the research from topic is all content that is free to use, and it doesn't infringe on any copyrights, which is really cool as well. All right, so I'm going to go back to the Sway homepage here. Now, some things you can create this with, like we were talking about earlier, is creating a newsletter, an external newsletter, internal, how-to resumes. So I'm just going to go ahead and create new, and we're going to start from scratch. And I can show you kind of the Sway builder. So it kind of looks a little weird at first, right? Not like anything we've ever seen with Microsoft Office. There's just some squares and text boxes and headings and stuff like that, but it's super easy to use here. So Ashley's going to kind of dictate what I'm kind of doing here.
Yeah. So I would like to say over here, your cards. So if you ever have seen someone try to build a storyboard, right, either in media or editing, and you've got like a huge PowerPoint slide and they've got cards and this is when they're going to show this video, right, and they're mapping it all out. That's how Sway works. So you're adding your cards together, whether it's a header card or an image card or a video card or a summary card, and you're piecing your story together with the cards. So as you see here, he's starting with the very first card, right, which is going to be a header, and then it also gives him the ability to add a background to your Sway.
Now, what's really cool is it knows that I typed in Tyler, Texas as the title for this card. So it automatically is pulling up image searches for Tyler. So it's cutting out an extra step. I don't have to go and find all the information for Tyler when I can go ahead and pull this here. So suggested searches, Tyler, Texas. I'll go ahead and click there. And again, as you'll notice, by default here, it is only showing Creative Commons only use licensed images at the first. So these are all good to use without having to request usage from the author or anything like that. All right, and so you just drag the image to the square where it says background, and that starts us off.
Okay, so if you notice, if I did that too quick, it already added it as the background to my webpage, right? Because it's a web-based PowerPoint. So, and I can preview quickly what it looks like. So I have now the ability here. It gives me a plus sign, and it's saying, do I want to insert a second heading, right? So maybe if this was just a huge title of my website, and I wanted to now add a heading to maybe a summary, right? Or maybe if I wanted to do this next step as history of Tyler, Texas. Sorry, we're trying to do this one-handed. I can see how it looks already. I can go back and preview. And then do I want to do a picture? So maybe if I wanted to look at, I don't know, a history symbol.
Up the top.
There we go. And it always allows you to keep going back to see what the flow looks like if you want to. So I added an additional image, so you easily can delete it. You also have the ability, because this works and runs like a slideshow, you can put a focus point of your image. I'm going to explain to you what that kind of does in a second. So I'm going to add a picture, and I'll just do a picture. All right, and I want an image where it shows in red. And you see here, it gives me that circle. So I want to position it specifically. I want to put a focus point of the red dot. So if I want to play my Sway, right? So I want to play the presentation that I've added. I've opened up my website, and this is what shows in my web browser. I can go to the next slide, There's a history of Tyler. I can add a summary right there. And then I also have my image. To go back, you just go back to edit this way. So that was a direct slide by slide, right? So it's kind of boring. It almost gives that same way of what a PowerPoint does. So I have the ability to do what's called a remix, where Sway itself will adjust the flow and look of all of your cards and your presentations, your summaries, your text. And the main point of this is one of the benefits I also find of Sway is Sway does all of the building and design for you. So your students can focus on the content. All they need to worry about is inputting the images and the summaries, and then Sway will readjust all of the content in an easy flow for you. If you look over here up at the top next to, I can choose if I want my Sway to run up and down as I scroll through like a website would. I have the ability to switch it from left to right and it flow that way. Or like it was originally, tile by tile. So you can choose how the website is portrayed to your viewers. In design, it'll actually allow you to choose different styles and color forms. And if you want, so these are like pre-selected ones, but if I want to customize it, I can say, okay, let's go by the colors mainly in this photo and use that color theme in that photo to create the design. And if you notice, it already gives me some suggested themes and colors from the picture that I chose. So I'm not spending hours on changing up the design of my Sway.
And you'll notice too that it tried to pick a font that was similar to the font that was used on the sign that said Tyler.
And then it flows a little bit.
You'll notice like here, the shape of the T here is the same shape as the T here. So really cool that I can match. And again, that uses the power of Microsoft's machine learning algorithm. So again, the power of the cloud kind of to the rescue. It has that kind of unique look that kind of keeps everything concise.
This little plus sign gives you easy access to input cards, right? But you also, if you just go up to the top left where it says cards, it'll show you all of the cards that you can add. Heading 1, heading 2. So if you have like subheadings, right? So maybe you're putting city of Tyler, Texas, right? And then history, and then the next one of a subtitle would be, I don't know, current, present, right? Current events, who knows? News for Tyler, Texas. You have the ability to add the subtitles and then the text. So it still presents in a proper way, if that makes sense. Same with images, videos, audio, embedded links. And the groups are, say, for example, if you wanted to add a large amount of pictures. So I want to add this, I want to add. I'm just gonna keep track of those pictures. Oh, the different brackets, right? So I now have a group stack. And so in my Sway, it does it just like it would a stack of photos on a website would. I can go back, and you can even choose how your stack flows. So I can make it larger. And now on my website page. And if you go under cards and you see the group stacks, it gives you the different ways that you can do it. You can do it like a stack. You can do it as comparisons. You can do it like a slide. You can do it like grids. So if I added a grid, and let's say with this grid, I want to, I'll just do US pictures for this one. And I'm just adding random. And I want it to preview. So now if you look, it shows all my 4 pictures in a grid, including that video. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So right now it's just giving you suggested pictures, right? So as you're doing a research project. But say if I wanted to just add a photo, it gives you this here, but it also, under suggested, you can pull from your OneDrive, Bing Images, YouTube, My Device. So that would be out of your pictures or your documents folder. You know, the main thing, if it's all in the OneDrive, they can just pull it from wherever. So for example, I have a side cookie business, right? And so I mainly do most of my business from my Facebook business page, right? But I created a Sway, so it gives a website type feel, so people can visually see all of my Frosted by Ashley creations. And I have that URL in on my business cards. So it still gives me kind of a business type feel without having to spend the money as a small business owner in creating and sustaining a website. Yeah, you sure can. Absolutely. Yeah, sure. So up here is going to be your share button, just like in all of your Office 365. So if it is a group project, you can share it, right? If you just want to share it as uneditable, right, it gives you your URL right here, and it's view only. You can send that to whoever. If you're doing it in email, so for example, if someone emails me about my Frosted by Ashley business, right, I created a hyperlink, so it says Frosted by Ashley, not that long URL. And that's what I do. And so they just click that link, and it shows all of the different cookies and cakes that they can kind of check out. And then 2, it gives you kind of like that. So if you notice how sometimes when you share a website on Facebook, it'll give kind of like a suggested image to make it a little more interesting to click. It does the same thing. So if you share to Facebook, it'll pick like your title picture, right, along with the link, come check out, you know, and then I can add my written verbiage along with it. Or you can just choose to share without adding. Yeah. So what I did for my business cards, because that's a long URL, I created a shortcut link.
Yeah, a Bitly. So I was going to show just one that I made previous. So this is just one I created for the city of Dallas, Texas. So I'm going to click play. I like using the presentation mode. So there's those three styles we talked about earlier: up and down, left and right, and there's presentation mode. The presentation mode, again, is meant for a large group, so has a little bit of animation to it. Again, we want to make the content as exciting as possible there. So you can see here that my picture has some movement to it, which is really, really cool. So the skyline of the city of Dallas here had a little bit of movement to it. And it's going to just keep moving around that image and floating around. And then all I got to do is hit right. You can see that little animation transition there. So Dallas loves the arts. And it talks about the Dallas Arts District. So it talks about it. And then after that is the page that kind of talks about the Arts District. Always on move. And it talks about, I like this little fact that most people don't know, is that Dallas has the largest light rail system in the US, which is really cool. So it encompasses 93 miles of track, which is pretty awesome. State Fair is coming up. Ooh, I'm so excited. So State Fair, Texas. It talks a little bit about the State Fair. We love our sports. Again, I just created this one really easy. And then it talks about all the sports that are here in Dallas. This is the new Toyota campus in Plano. So Toyota North America, relocated from California and just built their new one. So other big ones here. So this is just me, an example of adding lots of images all together. So ExxonMobil, Carl's Dallas Home, AT&T, Southwest Airlines, American Airlines, Dr. Pepper Snapple. Everyone knows Dr. Pepper. And then it talks a little bit more about some of the businesses that are located here as well. And then at the end, it always ends with this: paid with Sway, create and share interactive reports, presentations, for stories, and more. Get started. So it invites people to also create their own Sway.
So one of the things that I love about Sway is, one, you can get as detailed as you want. So for example, if you're building a resume, you can spend a lot more time. But as huge as what business environments fast as they are, right? You can have a boss that comes up to you now and says, "Hey, I have a presentation and I need some content to deliver, and it's expected in an hour." We don't necessarily, it's a fast as well, but it's really the ability to kind of and what takes so long for you, and you can literally focus all of that time on what is the content that he needs, what are the bullet points that he needs, what are the things that he needs to showcase, and you can literally say, okay, these are my focal points, this is the picture I want to make sure that I emphasize on, and so it builds it all for you in a really quick manner when you're needing to. Yeah. Yep, all stored and hosted in the cloud. So if you notice, because you guys are already signed into your Office 365, this opened up in your account. And so it's all just stored in a web-based form. So when Josh goes to his Sways, when he opens up Sway, there, it just shows his personal Sways that he's created. And it all stores on a Sway website with your sign-on. But because it's all web and internet-based, it doesn't save to your cloud.
It would also be the Sway app for iPhone and different devices as well. So if you go to the Google Play Store or the iPhone App Store, or the iPad App Store, you can download the Sway app on your device, and you can create this right from your device as well. So, and again, you're not losing anything from the app. It's all web-based. The app just makes it a little bit more touch-friendly, and knowing that you don't have a mouse to click with an iOS device. Absolutely.
Depending on what you have, you can pull up a PowerPoint and put your PowerPoint into here, and it will readjust it. I have personally found it, I don't know if you're format it, but depending on if you can template in Word, and then you have your Word document and you're uploading it, and by the time you template a little bit easier, you upload them. Yeah, you can insert a PowerPoint into those from Word documents, you have tables and things like that. Sometimes you have to adjust it a little bit once you get the document.
So this is an example on Sway. This is a sales pitch for a fake company. So Microsoft has a company that we use in every example. It's called Contoso. So you'll see it used. It's been used for like the last 20 years. It's crazy. But this is them using why should someone pick Contoso? So again, we have the stacks. So if I was in a business pitch and I was talking about it, you can see here partnering around mutual benefit. So inserting a graph and chart here, so you can see that it's interactive as well. What you get right here, here's an Excel document dropped right in as well. So I can interact with an Excel clip as well. Priorities. Goals. Here's a chart. Again, interactive, and I can mess around with that as well. So you can see Sway can be as interactive or as least interactive as you want it to be, and it's fully customizable to you. So definitely play around with Sway. I think it's one of the coolest programs that Microsoft's made in a long time, and that's been part of the Office portfolio, and it's free to everyone. So we have a couple programs that are free to everyone. The next one we'll talk about is OneNote, which I'm a huge advocate for. Sway.
Yes. There's an audio insert you can do. I believe it's under cards. Under your card, yeah. That's the audio.
And there's a microphone button right here that you want to click, and it'll say, can you use your microphone, and then get ready. Cool. And then you'll have 5 minutes per card to talk. So each card can hold 5 minutes worth of audio.
Well, you want to link with your card, because depending on how it flows, right, and how you design it, as you go down, then you want to then stay at that card.
Because I can navigate your Sway at any point, and I can scroll all the way to the bottom, and then I'm about to say.
They're still, I don't know, maybe looking at the very top of your Sway, but it keeps going audio-wise. It's not, your user might not be catching up to your audio. So it's good to card.
Yeah, and since everything's happening in the cloud, you can see here it says we're preparing an audio file for a great playback experience on any device. This can take a while, happens in the background. You can even leave Sway and come back later. So I can go ahead and close this web browser, and it's going to keep working in the background for me, and I can come back later this afternoon and the audio file will be formatted. Because again, we want the audio file to be streamlined, and it can work on a cell phone, it can work on a tablet, or anything. So it's going to just format that audio, make sure it's lightweight, but still sounds great as well. And there's like a timeline view and everything. So there's lots of different things. If you always need help or inspiration, at the top right is tutorials. You can click there, and there's a whole YouTube channel of Sway tutorials here as well. So yes. Well, remember, it's more of a Sway isn't necessarily building a website, right? So yeah, so it's your background image, and then depending on the design that you change, depends on whether that image stays or it fades away and moves on to a different background image, depending on the remix that you use with Sway and the template. I'll come back there. Yeah. And again, in the top right-hand corner, when I click the ellipses, like everything I mentioned earlier, there's an accessibility view, and it lets me know. It'll also generate it in a high contrast view. That's going to make it a little bit easier for everyone to read as well. And it auto changes the format and the font to an more easier to read font as well. So it takes away some of the fancy looking formatting, where it's just more of a clear text. It'll be easier for everyone to read in accessibility view. You can also duplicate this Sway, save it as a template. So if you use this format a lot, you can just save it as a template and come back to it any time. You can print your Sway. Sways are cool, they're digital, they're best in digital, but if you want to print it, you can do that too. You can export it, and you can just sign up. So that's what the printed view would look like. All right, so if we go back to your Office 365 tab at the top, and we click that awesome waffle, and we're going to find our OneNote. So that's the little book with the N. OneNote. So you'll click the Microsoft waffle, and then it's this icon right here. Huh? Okay, so there's two different versions of OneNote. There is regular OneNote for all students, teachers, consumers, parents, all that. And then there is OneNote Classroom. Okay, we're going to show you both versions. OneNote is in either version, is a digital 3-ring binder, basically. So it's a way for schools to go completely paperless. For example, there's a school down in San Antonio. They moved everybody over to OneNote in the classroom. And I want to say what did they say? I want to say it was $36,000 in paper in 2 years. So it can make a difference. So there's a web-based version and a desktop version, right? Both allow you to do the same things. They just look slightly different depending on how which document version that you have it in. So if you look to the So this is the online version of OneNote, right? So right here is showing all of his notebooks. So imagine if you had a stack of 3-ring binders, and these are the titles of all of his 3-ring binders, right? So you can break them into subject, or I have, for example, in my OneNote accounts, I have my own personal OneNote. I have a CDS training notebook. I have a Microsoft Store notebook, an MIE notebook. So you have a couple different ways that you can organize your different notebooks. Let's see, signing on. And so if you haven't already, you should be able to see a way where you can add a notebook and create a notebook. Go ahead and do that if you haven't. Okay, so did you guys click OneNote Classroom or OneNote? You hit OneNote Classroom. That's okay. There's two versions. There's Class Notebook and then there's OneNote. And you want to make sure you're in OneNote. And we're going to show you the difference in a second. Okay.
So we all log in with our track with the account. Do all your picture.
So where it shows your name and at school, basically it's kind of giving you an example of what OneNote in the classroom looks like. So it looks like they have just OneNote. Yeah. So we'll just start from there. All right. So when you go to OneNote in the classroom, because you have the ED version, it's going to give you the extras just from the get-go. So that's a good thing. You can stay where you're at if you like, because then it'll give you the ability to kind of see what we're showcasing. But this is a way for you guys to create a notebook and interact with either staff members or with students, and where you guys can all share a digital 3-ring binder. So for example, if they go to create class notebook, right? What is the name of your class? So biology period 2, as an example, history 4. All right, and so this is probably going to be your key. So if you have the ability to maybe take a picture of it, snip it. Does anybody know what snippet is? Take a screenshot basically of what because this is the breakdown. So once you create a class notebook, it's going to build 3 ways for you as a teacher or a staff member, a team member, to collaborate amongst yourselves. You're going to have a collaboration space, you're going to have a content library, and you will have your student notebooks within your class notebook. So in your collaboration space, teachers and students can work together within that tab, right? So teachers can edit the documents and students can edit the documents. In your content library is where you can publish course materials for all of your students. And in there, you have the ability to constantly edit as many documents or information within your OneNote as you would like, and students can just view them. Not only can they view them, but they can print them, they can save as them, so they can pull that document to give a homework assignment, right? They can pull it and save as and then edit themselves, but they can't edit the main document. Does that make sense so far? And then the student notebooks, teachers can edit content within their students' notebooks, and the students can edit only their own notebooks. They cannot go into any other students' notebooks to edit, right? So it's where they can work from, and you can help edit and collaborate with them, but other students cannot. Up in the collaboration space, your whole class can collaborate together, edit, and work on maybe a document. Does that make sense so far? Okay. So in here, you're then, it's asking you, do you want to give another teacher permission to utilize the space, right? So if you maybe are working on a project together between with 2 of your teachers, and it's a history lesson for the 6th grade class, right? And so you guys are all working on one project together, and you want all of your 6th graders in that same collaboration space. You can do that. Now it gives you the ability to add every one of your students. So if you have English period 6, you can add individual students.
So this is where I'm going to pause and talk briefly about Canvas. So I believe the system uses Canvas as their LMS, correct? All right. So Canvas not being a Microsoft product, I can talk kind of briefly on it and how we work with it. So Microsoft products use what we call a connector that can connect to most major LMS systems, Canvas being one of them. And so you can use the Office connector to connect Microsoft Office to Canvas, and it can import your students' information from Canvas right into OneNote. So like OneNote for the classroom and stuff like that, you can do that as well. It can also talk back and forth. So not only can it import, so within OneNote, you can do grading. It can send grades back to Canvas as well, which is really, really cool. Now, unfortunately, we're not allowed to show anything just because, like I said, I don't have a Canvas input or license to show that everything as well. We're working on getting that from Canvas. So hopefully, not only in the future I'll be Microsoft Education certified, but hopefully I'll be certified to talk on behalf of Canvas as well. Just because it's a different company altogether, I just don't have the ability to talk about it, I guess you could say. But it works. Not only do we use this, we work with some other major ones that a lot of your K through 12 institutions use as well. I think one of them was a Moodle that a lot of people log into as well. And then there's a few other ones like Blackboard and stuff like that. Talks back and forth between Blackboard as well, which is really cool. Which is what I use when I went to school, Blackboard. So. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Yeah, so, and our hopes is to get y'all a Canvas representative out to UT Tyler very soon, and they can kind of show that as well. Yeah, so this is where once you got that connector set up, once you start typing, so you can see right here when she starts typing a name, it's automatically pulling from a selective source, and that would be Canvas. So she would start typing Annie. You can see here it's searching over here, and we'll find information. Okay. Yeah, so OneNote's been around since 1999, so it's an older program and stuff, but a lot of people just don't know about it. Oh, integration, yeah. So if you, and I'll show you a web page that y'all can use for a resource as well. That might give you enough information on the Canvas integration as well. Oh, it's already integrated. All right, cool. Oh, well, it's not just. It should just be a one connection piece that integrates the whole Office suite with your Canvas account. It should be, and this is done not as a student, this should be done by the IT administrator on the back end. They should have integrated the Canvas connection with the Office 365 account, connecting the two systems together. It's like a bridge that we just built. So it's like the rainbow bridge that kind of connects everything back and forth. So, all right, so we're going to add these students here. So we got Barbara and Christina, our 2 students in this class. All right, and so almost there. Now it's going to ask you, in each student's private space, what do you want there? You want a section for handouts, which is super cool. You only have to click once, and it distributes the handout to all 30 students at once, which is really cool. So if you've been working on a document like a PDF document, you can drop it in one folder, and it automatically populates in all 30 students' folders. So handouts is always a section I recommend. Class notes, again, if you have like a syllabus for the notes for the day, whatever, you can post that there. Homework and quizzes. So these are the 4 that OneNote generally recommends. There's also a section to add more, and you can type in your own section as well. So. And by choose as many, we mean up to 10. so only 10 I do. So we'll go ahead and click next. And so it's going to be like, did we get this right? So please confirm the visual representation. So we're going to be able to see this here. So as a teacher or an educator, this is what you'll see. You'll see the welcome that everyone has access to. There'll be the collaboration space that everyone will have access to. And it's just like a town hall. Everyone can like see postings. And don't forget, we have the car wash on Friday sort of thing. The content library, quiz handouts, science handouts, everything, all the handouts there. And then you as a teacher will be able to see each individual's student's OneNote. So I can see Barbara's work, and then I can click on it, I can see Christina's work. So it looks good. We're going to go ahead and click create. And it's going to do it, and it's going to do all that for you. So instead of having to set up 30 individual notebooks, all I have to do is type in their name at the student section, and it's going to create those individual notebooks for each student. Now, if you're doing a large class, this can take up to 5 or 6 minutes to create the entire class.
It does both. So the collaboration space is a way where everybody can work out of that tab. So if you have group projects, or for example, hey everyone, once you finish your sway, input your link in the collaboration space, right? So you could have, say, a tab or a table that has everyone's name on it, right? And then everyone can live just input their sway link, right? And then the teacher could pull up everybody's link right there and open up everyone's sway presentation. But then it also has a private individual section that it creates for each student. So it has both. You have a classroom collaboration space and notebook, and then you have an individual notebook that is just for that student.
One thing you'll notice is that you do get the option, it gives you samples. And so OneNote's your own digital notebook. Here's stuff for your teachers and some resources for you, some training for your students, and then basics. All right, so it helps you get started as well. So when I click collaboration space, it says it's open to everyone in the class, and all class members can read or write anything in this notebook. Teachers and students can also create new sections and pages in ways that work best for them. For example, if a class splits into group projects, each group can create their own section in which to share project-related work. Members can access material in other group sections, so everyone should behave responsibly. So, and it helps keep your class on the same page. Content library, just like the picture shows, it's kind of like a filing cabinet everyone has access to. So readings, worksheets, or materials, you just store all your files here. And then this is where I come down to Barbara's section. So Barbara is one of my students in my class, and then I can see any tests that I distribute, quizzes, handouts, homework, and notes. I can see her notes. I want to see how well she's taking notes during class. I can log in, and I can see how well she's taking her notes. Now, this is really cool if you have a device with inking experience. OneNote is completely ink capable, so handwriting is really easy to do as well. Now, here at the top, you can see there's an option if you're a teacher or yourself as a teacher, is class notebook. This is how you can distribute a page or a section amongst everyone and all the students. This is also where I can review the student work, and I can add and remove teachers, create a class notebook, and then there's here stuff for professional development as well. So if you need more information, there's that Microsoft Educator community as well. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute a page. You would sign in to your account, and you can copy from your existing OneDrive or Word document you've been working on, and basically that page will get distributed amongst all the users in the class. Now, one of the other really cool things about the OneNote Online is not while everyone's taking notes, there's a chat section on the side that can be used as a session amongst the students. You can totally disable this as well. But the chat window is just on for that session. But it's a way for everyone to keep, without everyone talking aloud, you can just type questions during maybe a teacher's lecture. And like, what does she mean by like 24th century or something like that? So they can ask questions here as well. And generally, what I've seen teachers do is it's a privilege to be like a OneNote moderator in some classrooms too. So you'll find a student that might want to volunteer as a OneNote moderator. So as the chat session is going, that person would be the moderator and keep everyone on task, I guess you could say. So I've seen it really cool that a teacher will nominate a OneNote moderator. I've seen teachers do where they'll just have names on like popsicle sticks sort of thing. And all right, John, you're the moderator for today's chat session. So what I've seen the moderators do as well as questions become available, the moderator will use that collaboration space to basically grab that question and then park it for later on when the teacher comes around and they're asking any questions. Then the moderator can go back to the collaboration space and then they can say, yeah, we have these questions from the lecture. Do you mind if we ask a couple questions on these? So there's a couple different ways you can use the chat session and the collaboration. So the moderator will grab, they can just copy and paste from the chat session and then they'll paste it into the collaboration as a question that somebody had and the teacher can come back to it later. So some teachers just like to lecture, and then they wait till the end and then they ask questions, and then some teachers are the ones that can stop and talk and everything like that. So it all depends on the teaching situation and everything like that too. And that's the beauty of education. There's so many different styles, and we learn from many different ways. People, and I think that's the coolest part about school and everything like that. Any questions about OneNote? Like everything else, OneNote is also available on iOS and Android as well. You can download it, and it stays in sync. So any notes that you take on your PC stay in sync on your phone. So what I do personally with my own personal OneNote is, for my Surface, I'll be sitting in my kitchen, and anytime that I'm out of something, because I have a big bar in my kitchen, and I'll sit there. Anytime I run out of food, I'll use the camera, and I can attach a picture in OneNote, and I add that to like a shopping list. And so I'll take a picture as I'm throwing it away, and then I can open up the OneNote on my phone, and I can see everything I need to shop for on the next trip to the grocery store. So it's really cool. It's collaborative. It's real time too. I've seen a commercial for OneNote where a wife had created a shopping list for a husband, and he's at the grocery store, and the kids are on the computer, and they're adding in real time like cookies and brownies and stuff like that too. So, and the guy's confused because like more things keep on adding to the list. So I'm gonna try to find one little video really fast.
When they're going to start looking at the important pieces of information, or you're going to organize it in this way. I'm going to go ahead and put -5 to the second first, since we write our constant first. Any questions? Would I ever go back to teaching in the traditional binder where the kids have all of those papers? No. OneNote helps give students that scaffolding they need to keep themselves organized, and then transition that technological organization into the kind of organization that they make in mind. Along with being able to share my notebook, I can also see the kids' notebook. If I have kids struggling, I can keep their notebook at all the time.
It makes differentiation incredibly seamless. We can sit with a student, chase something together, push it out to that electronically, help students remain part of the learning community without being rolled up.
Like Office 365, my colleagues and I can work together and OneNote at the same time.
We're able to update the notebook either sitting together in our own classrooms or even from home in real time, see what each other's doing.
When they collaborate or research, it's really easy for them to share with each other. Tell them, yeah, we can share this because they see us sharing all the time.
I knew a couple of girls who said, can we create our own OneNote notebook to study together and begin to issue using it for themselves and push their academics.
OneNote has made me a better teacher because I'm more organized, I use my time better.
For me, I think it helps me be more present to the students in the classroom. I'm not worried about is everything ready. I can really focus on their learning at that moment.
So, really cool way of teaching using OneNote. And OneNote, like I said, is such a cool program, and it's free for anyone. It's like Sway. You don't have to buy Office or have an Office subscription.
OneNote for teachers.
All you got to do, if you have students that want to use it, is just go to OneNote.com, and you can download the full desktop version without having to have Office for free. So you just click download, and then it'll start downloading on the device of your choice. PC, Mac, it really doesn't matter. It'll work on either one of them. So we thought this tool should be available to everyone, whether or not they're using it. So. You will need a Microsoft account, correct? So just like with your iPhone, you need your Apple ID. With your Android phone, you need your Google ID. We use Microsoft accounts. So you'll just sign in. And again, there's going to be a couple different ways you can sign in as well. So our Microsoft account, of course, controls Windows, Office, Xbox, our group Music Pass, and everything like that. So a wider range of products and services through Microsoft. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and generate a couple codes to get you your badges for all the content you learned today, and you can redeem those on the Microsoft Education page really fast.